Okay, after leaving the material to get all the juices out and the color out, I left it on the stove for about 2 hours, let it cool, and then I let it kind of soak over the next day, and now I'm ready to strain all of the plant material out. Okay, so just looking at it, the color seems to have changed quite a bit. So we will see actually what this does. It might have been a mistake to leave all the material in the water for so many days. But I just was not able to actually do the dyeing because I had some other commitments. So maybe I should have, waited to do it or taken the material out while I was waiting. I thought maybe it would be a good thing to let it soak, but I wasn't really keeping an eye on it at all. I honestly was not at all. So okay, so that's the color that we have now. So it might end up being more brown than what I originally was expecting. I was hoping to have like a bright pink, but I'll just experiment and see how it goes. I forgot to mention, so last time I did dyeing with avocado pits, I actually did leave it an extra day to soak, and it just like strengthened the color. But this time with the pokeweed, I don't know, that may have affected the color. And so right now I'm going to let everything cool. It's pretty hot. I did heat it back up again. I just wanted to get the last little bit of color out of it as much as I could. But I really should have probably taken all of that plant material out of it before I let it kind of sit for a day or so. Or maybe not even let it sit for a day. I probably should have just taken the plant material out, separated it, and then put it in the refrigerator. Okay, so I got my plant materials out of here and gave it a quick wash. I'm gonna add some more water, just a bit, and then I'm gonna heat the water up so now I'm doing my onion skin dye. So we're gonna add the alum, and the alum will need some heat in order to dissolve properly. It's kind of like a salt. It's that consistency, the crystals. So so we do want the water to be somewhat warm in order for that alum to dissolve. And then I'm going to add 3 teaspoons of alum, unless I decide to add more fabric, because I was thinking late last night I might want to dye some linen as well. So I'm gonna let this heat up and I'm gonna make my decision about the linen. And if I have to, or if I decide to do the linen as well, which I'm not sure if I have enough onion skins to really do that, I might change my mind. So if I have to do the linen, I will have to prepare the fabric first, and then I'll be adding probably quite a bit more of the alum to the mixture. So I will decide. Okay, I just ran in, I measured or weighed my fabric, my linen fabric, and I decided I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I've got a small amount of water in this pan already. I decided to just do it in the pan that I'm going to be I think, putting the dye material, the actual material into the onion skins, so that I can just get this going. I will get this going, and then dissolve the alum, and then I'm gonna prepare the fabric in the meantime. And I also think I'm going to go and see if I can pick up some cream of tartar, because all the articles I've read have said to add cream of tartar as well. So I'm just going to get this going. You know, there's like some, some larger pieces on top. I just don't want to, I want to be able to measure this correctly without burning myself on the pan here. Yeah, it's all kind of stuck together, so, ooh, see, that's what I didn't want to happen. All right, that's about 1 tablespoon. So I need 3 tablespoons, 4 tablespoons is what I calculated according to, and in the meantime, I did find some easier ways to calculate. This is really, so that's 2. This is not a great way to do this. I should have put it into a bowl and then taken out what I needed. Now, this is food grade alum, so I'm actually not that worried about it. I would have worn gloves if I would have, you know, thought, oh, this is, you know, something I need to be careful with. But I'm not wearing gloves, because this is intended for adding to food and when you're pickling and canning and things like that. So I'm not super worried about it. All right, wow, that dissolved pretty well. So I'm gonna close this up. I'm just gonna clear it off because I really don't want it to get even more chunky and full of moisture. And then I'm gonna go prepare my linen, which is just gonna consist of doing a bit of a wash with it with some soap, because the wool I actually used some soap and washed it before, so basically essentially scouring the fabric. Now I'm gonna go prepare that wool, and then I'm gonna head over to the store and get some cream of tartar, and I'll be back. Okay, well, I'm back from the store. I just ran across the street to the little local DG, and they did not have cream of tartar, so I'm just gonna go ahead, add my water, and I'm gonna put that fabric in and treat it basically. And then I think I'll just use the walnut shells or husks. And I got all my wool cuts. Just gonna add it. It's still slightly wet, so I just left it as is. I don't know if it, yeah, some of the from the basket got onto it. So I'm just adding that. Guess I gotta add more water now, and then go get the linen. Okay, got my linen. Got it. I basically just added a little bit of soap, and I had and soaked it for a bit and worked it with my hands, and then I'll just add that all. Now I'm just gonna kind of stir this around a little bit. You may not want to use your hand, but I'm just using my hands. Probably want to put a glove on to do that. And then we're gonna let that sit for a while, I'm just gonna cover it with the top and let it sit for a while and soak in. Okay, in the meantime, I'm out on the front porch. I'm gonna get my gloves on this time. Because this is our avocado and pokeweed solution. And so I have all of my prepared fabric cuts. I'm not going to do any linen in this unless, I might have some left over that I'll just mix in with something else. I don't know. We'll see. So here we go. I'm going to start adding these. Now, this is going to be a complete experiment because I've never done the pokeweed and the avocado together. And like I said, I let it sit probably for too long and it kind of turned brown instead of the bright pink I was going for. I was really hoping. But maybe it's also because, I don't know. Because there was other things besides the actual berries in there. So basically I only have these 3 diaper cuts. And like I said, I might add more items to this because it is really almost thick dye. So what I'm gonna do is just every few minutes I'm gonna come over and just kind of stir it up so that we get like an even color on these cuts. Shouldn't be too difficult to get an even color because there's not really much stuff that we're dyeing, so it should be pretty good. Okay, so I've got my linen in my vintage washing machine, and I have my diaper cuts already, and I'm just going to add some clean water because now I'm going to start doing the walnut husks dyeing. So we'll add all the diaper cuts. And I'm going to kind of move them around in here. Okay, what I need to do now is pour in the walnut husks, but I'm going to try to strain the material out first. Alright, so I got my strainer. I also put gloves on, and this is what the walnut husks look like. It's a mess, but it's very much like inky dye. Okay, this is my first pass after soaking these for about 2 days or so. So this is going to be a little difficult. Here we go. And I'm just going to pour all that in. Look at that. Oh my gosh, it's so black. So black. And there's lots of gunk in here. So yeah, this is really, really dark. I'm glad I put my gloves on. Okay, so I found out my antique washing machine no longer actually works. So this part does not rotate. It still works, the motor still works, and it will wring the clothes out, but it will not agitate them, which I'm agitated about. So I'm having to like manually stir this, and also I've run the walnuts through more water, so I'm gonna strain that right now. So this really handily fits right here. So here's the next batch. Not as inky, but still getting a lot of color. And my brother really wants to try doing like ink with the walnuts, and so I think that honestly he can be very successful with that just by soaking walnuts, and these all came from his tree. So I'll remove this. I don't know why I took my glove off. I need to put it back on. So the walnut shells really do hold a lot of color, and it will stain your skin for at least a week, more than likely. Last time I just opened a walnut shell to see what, you know, how it looked inside, and didn't put any gloves on. Yeah, my fingers were stained for at least a week, so it's just minimal touching. All right, so I guess what I have to do at this point is to just manually agitate this every once in a while, just like with the other dyes. You can see how this wool has really absorbed the color though. So these are all of the wool cuts. They really absorbed well. The linen is just a big piece of fabric. It's not cut, and so not all of it will go down in there. So I mean I am seeing a lot of color. This was bleached white linen, so I am pretty happy with that. Although I'm wondering if maybe I should run those shells. Maybe what I'll do is I'll actually take the shells apart and kind of soak them some more, because there's still a lot of color left in those. And meanwhile, just agitate this every once in a while. Okay, I'm checking on all of my dye stuff. So this is the fabric with all the mordant in it. And one interesting thing that I learned about alum is that you can actually use it on your skin as, like, apparently you can make a deodorant out of it, and it's actually softening for your skin. So it's totally fine for me to touch it with my hands. This one I was just soaking and pre-treating, you know, trying to scour this fabric. So I put some soap and hot water and I just soaked it. So this is actually ready to be dyed now. Here are my onion skins. I'm not going to touch these with my hands. I don't want my hands to be yellow. And one thing I wanted to note is that these onion skins have only been soaked in cold water. They have not been boiled at all, which I don't actually think I need to do, and it's going to be an experiment too. Here is my avocado pokeweed mix, and I actually was thinking about adding an old t-shirt, which kind of turned grayish, so I think I'm just gonna throw it in there and mix it up. And because I really don't know what the end color is going to be, so I don't want to actually like waste any fabric on this, because it might end up just being like a really gross color. So an old t-shirt, that's fine. And I think I have 3 diaper cover cuts in here, so I'm adding that. Okay. So next up, here is, so basically I've taken the walnuts out of the shells. This is the remaining shells, or husks. And then I just added more water to fill it. And so I think what this is going to end up being is I'm just going to strain it off, and this will be another batch of dye for a later date, I think. I don't sounds really hard. Feels like there's a walnut in there. Don't think there is though. Maybe there is. Actually, there is. I need to get that walnut out. Well, maybe not. Whatever. So that's going to be another batch of dye because I really, really like the color. Boy, I have like every single noise-making thing happening today. So there's a train going by right now. And there's traffic, obviously. I'm in the front of my house. I'm trying to decide what to do with this spoon. Okay, back. I put the phone on a holder thing. So here's what we're looking like. And I did put all these walnuts in here. Just kind of letting them dry in the sun. Well, except I have the top on. But with my gloves on in the meantime. And I'm doing another stir of, I really wish that this had worked. It would have been nice to be able to use the old washing machine to actually do all of the agitating for me. I think it would have been more uniform. But that's okay. We'll work it out. And I do definitely see like a darker appearance to this linen. We've got, this is all of the wool over here, the wool diaper cover cuts and wool leggings, a couple of wool leggings. And yeah, those are a nice deep color, I think. It's always kind of disappointing when you rinse it out because it's not as dark as you wanted it to be. But we will deal with it. It's definitely darker than it was before, as it was a natural color. And this linen was actually, I think it was bleached. This one too was bleached. So it's definitely a nice color. I like it a lot actually. And I found out I can let this sit for about 8 hours and absorb as much of the dye as I possibly can, because I was really hoping for a really deep brown, rich brown color. Apparently also, I've been doing some reading, the cream of tartar would add like an amber color. I can move this a little bit, maybe not. So it would have added more of a reddish tone. So I think that it's totally fine. Just doing like this and using the natural tannins of the black walnut to dye the fabric, and with the onion skins, I think just the alum will be fine as a mordant. I have used onion skins before to dye some wool yarn and it really held. It took the color really, really nicely. So that's what that's doing. Let's see. Back to the onion skins. Let's go back here. So what I'm wondering is if I maybe should just heat these up on the stove in order to get a nice deep dye color. You see how reddish that is? It's really, really red. So I think that that's going to work out really well. But so I think what I'm going to do is wring out the fabric here with my mordant so that the alum is in there, right? So I'm going to wring this out and I'll set up my camera here. And I really actually don't want to use my gloves because they have the black walnut on them. So I'm just going to wring all of these out them in something. Okay, my fabric that was in this, I'm just going to dump this water out and use this for this thing for all of the fabric I'm taking out. So you definitely, if you're doing multiple colors, you want to have like a couple different pots and a couple different containers that you don't mind getting dyed, and also a couple of containers for clean water. Okay, so put that on the chair there, and then I'll just wring these out. I just have to remember to keep the fabrics separate for each color. It's so loud out here on the porch. This is where we live. I mean, we're right on a main road. There's a gas station across the street. We make do with what we can on this little half acre, and we're trying to make it a little piece of paradise in the middle of all of this traffic, which after about 6 o'clock the traffic does die down quite a bit. Okay, so then I'm going to dump this water so that I can use this pot to actually heat up the onion skins. All right, time to add our onion dye. It is really a beautiful shade of orange, really deep orangey color, reddish orangey. I was kind of eyeing some onion peels that Vlad was using for his burrito today. Like, oh, maybe I should add those. It gets to be really like you want to use every single thing that you possibly can. I don't have my spoon over here, but I'm gonna take this inside anyway and put it on the stove. Okay, I think I've got a good shot there. It's hard to see. But so those are the onion skins. Push everything down. I grabbed the spoon on my way in. And then I'm gonna cover it. And let's see, we'll turn it on. Just put it on high and get it boiling. And then I'll just keep an eye on that, and then we'll just do the dyeing right in a pot for this one. Hey, so we're back. I got my spoon. Here we are with our onion skins. Still pretty hot. It seems like the color deepened quite a bit when I added I added heat. I boiled it. So I think that's good. I'm gonna drain it off now. And we'll see what we get and how much of the actual dye we have. So look at that, it's like a deep orange. And the great thing about dyeing with plants is that you really don't have to worry about much happening except dyeing your skin, or you gotta wear some old clothes, but it's not toxic. I mean, some of the mordants that you might use, or I guess modifications that you could do, you can add things that could potentially be dangerous, but you don't have to. So yeah, with this I just used the onion skins water. I soaked them for a couple days, and then I added the alum to my fabric. Basically mix up the alum with hot or warm water, add your fabric, and okay, I think I got most of that, and soak it for a couple hours. I mean, I don't know, some people say you can soak it for a couple days. So here it is, and I'm gonna actually take the onion skins out of the pot and actually do the dyeing in the pot. Hey, it's later in the day, so traffic is a bit more busy on my street, so you're gonna notice that. So there's my dye. Now I think that I don't really have a ton, so I could add some water to it, but I'm gonna soak up as much as I can while it's like full strength. So, and I already got my fingers yellowed from just taking off a couple of onion skins while I was clearing out the pot, and I kind of forgot to put gloves on. But look at this, like, wow, that's really brilliant. Actually, there's an onion skin right there. And because I did put this on the stove, it is probably warm to the touch. I haven't actually touched the dye itself right now, but I can just feel the heat coming off of it. And actually, I'm gonna get my gloves on so that I can spread this fabric out a little bit better. But I think it's gonna be very successful. Again, I dyed yarn just like this, and a couple of years ago, and it turned out really brilliant yellow. Okay, so I got my gloves on. Actually, I'm going to give this a little stir over here while I'm at it. So I added that t-shirt, so kind of stir that around. Alright, and then this, I mean, that is really beautiful. I'm surprised that it turned out orangey, because this time I didn't add any red onion skins. It's only yellow onion skins, and yet it has this like orangey hue. Now, so these are the wool pieces. They look like they won't even need to actually soak for very much longer, but I'm gonna leave them. Trying to get everything fully covered, especially the linen, because it's just a big piece of linen fabric that I'm hoping to make a skirt out of. When I was first trying to think about it, well, not first, actually it was in the middle of the night, I was thinking about this color, and I didn't think I wanted anything for myself, this color, but then I started thinking that would really make a nice skirt. So in the middle of the night I decided to do some linen as well. So same thing, I'm gonna every once in a while just come over, mix this around, and then after probably soaking it most of the rest of the day, it's like about 4 o'clock, then I will, well, maybe I'll just soak it overnight, and then I'll come back with the results tomorrow. Okay, it's the next day. Let me grab my glove here. Not like it's super important, I just really don't want to get my hands wet right now. So this is the onion skin dye. I already pulled out the diaper cover cuts, and I've got them actually soaking in lanolin water, so that they'll get some of that lanolin back in their fibers before I sew them up. And this is the linen, and I'm so pleased with the density of color of this. I mean, it's on the screen, it looks even brighter than what it is in real life, but in real life, I'm so happy with it. So I'm going to get this out of the water and run it through some clean water to rinse it. And then I'm going to dry it. And when we dry it, that's when we'll really see the end result after it's rinsed and dried. So I'm take this in the house, and actually you can see, if I don't know if you can actually see, the color of the water has gotten much lighter. So it's interesting how the cloth really absorbed that color. I'm going to take off my gloves so I can turn the camera off. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do actually is this is the pokeweed and avocado dye. And I've already taken the diaper cover cuts and the t-shirt out. T-shirt didn't turn out so well, but I'm going to actually mix this in and strain it while I'm doing that, because I think there's quite a bit more dye, and but there are a lot of seeds and stuff, so I'm going to throw those out. And there's some stuff that fell just because it wasn't covered overnight. So there we go. I'm going to stir that up, and then I'm going to add this other color, or this other fabric. I did not dye this fabric yesterday at all, so it's just been sitting here after I washed it. It's a much colder day today, but it's okay. Actually, I'm just going to mix this up with my hand. There. Now, the color is really brownish, but I'm hoping it's going to be kind of a reddish color brown. I don't know, honestly. I don't mind if the fabric comes out kind of earthy toned. And this is the cheaper linen fabric. It's a really lightweight fabric, so this is entirely going to be an experiment, another experiment. So here we go. I'm probably going to have to leave this for at least another full day. Oh my gosh, it's so loud out here. I put my microphone on, but I don't know if it's actually going to help. So I'm going to leave it for at least another day. If nothing else, it'll just end up being like a light tan, kind of sandy color. Hopefully, I'm hoping we can pick up some kind of light peach tones, but we'll see. Okay, so on to the walnut dye. So we are back at the vintage washing machine, which doesn't work that well. So let's see. Now this has been sitting, as you know, like overnight, and most of the day it's already like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I still have the linen in there, and oops, although I wouldn't mind if my spoon got dyed that walnut color. So these are the diaper cover cuts. I'm just going to wring it out with my hands, these ones. So it's got a lot of debris kind of on it from the walnut shells, but they really turned out pretty nice. They're really dark, and honestly, I think there's still a lot of color left in this dye. So I'm not really wanting to drain it yet. So I feel like I can still get a lot of color into something. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know how many I had. I don't know if I did any of the wool baby pants, which I really wanted to do. I think that I grabbed the wrong stack of cuts for this one. I might have done one small. Okay, there's two more. Okay, and I don't know if yeah, it looks like you can actually see how inky this color is. And I'm super happy. Obviously, I haven't rinsed this yet, so I'm gonna have to rinse it. Okay, so I figure what I'll do, especially with this being such a long cut of fabric, I'm going to turn on the machine. So that I can, oops, so I gotta turn that down, and then I can run the clothes through the rollers in order to get all that dyed water out. Okay, well, I just figured out my problem, and I'm kind of happy, kind of upset that I didn't recognize this sooner, but I basically, let me just turn this on over here, the way that, so I need this to be actually fixed in the middle in order for it to work. I don't know. It's gonna splash me, but so that's what it should be doing when it's washing. Um, so I'm glad I figured that out. And now that the dyeing process is over with, I'm gonna get my glove on and show you how I use the rollers. So it should, okay. So I just pull this. I hope that you can see it. And I'm feeding it through. Hi, thanks for joining me on this one. Sorry about the microphone not working and all of that noise on the porch, but I'm excited to show you the results of all the dyeing in part 3, so stay tuned. And that video will be a much shorter video, I promise.